Welcome back, listeners. This is your host for today, Emma White from allthingshistory.org. Today, we will be meeting with Toussaint Louverture to talk about his Haitian Revolution. Go get your headphones, go grab some snacks, and be prepared to learn more about Toussaint Louverture.
Hello, everybody. This is Toussaint Louverture. I was a Haitian general that led the Haitian Revolution. I also led the only successful slave revolt in modern history.
With that being said, your father was the youngest son of King Soso, who was the ruler of Benin, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
It is said that there was some rivalry between your father and his brother. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. When my grandfather died, he left my father, Gao, and his brother, Hussar, to the succession of the throne. My uncle fled to Abomey, which is the capital of the Zoo Department. My father overtook the kingdom of Ardra, which is a southern kingdom in Benin. My uncle then allied with Agaja, who was king of Dahomey, a West African kingdom in Benin. He then came back to fight my father for the throne, but my uncle sold him to slavery. My father arrived in Haiti, where I was born into slavery. My master was a very good one, which most people, I'm sure, find that hard to believe. Everything talked about slavery these days is terrible. My father was given a portion of land and 5 slaves to work it.
In your previous answer, you mentioned that your master was good. What do you mean by that?
My master was Count de Breda, and he was a sugar manufacturer. He was the one that taught me to read and write. I learned French and Creole. I was also well acquainted with Greek, French, and Italian philosophers. During my time as a slave under him, I learned many things. I became a good horseman and learned about medicinal plants. He has debunked what people think about when they hear about the African slave trade.
You became a freed man at the age of 33, right?
Yes, I then married Suzanne Simone Baptiste.
What caused you to become so invested in the rebellion?
Well, in 1791, a Vodou ceremony took place, and that marked the beginning of the rebellion amongst the Saint-Domingue enslaved population. I helped my master escape the fate of some of the others, which was usually death. I wanted to help my fellow people escape their terrible lives. Not everyone was as blessed as I was with a good master. I wanted to show that us slaves were people too, and that we deserve the same respect as everyone else.
Before you became a general, what did you do for the rebellion?
As I had mentioned before, Breda taught me a lot about African and Creole herbal medicinal techniques, and a lot about plants, so I was a doctor to the troops. But I also was a soldier. I quickly became well acquainted with the military and started moving my way up the ranks.
Can you explain how you made your way to general?
After my higher-ranking officers realized how well acquainted I was becoming in the military, I was first put in charge of 600 black former slaves. I was well organized with my troops, and I discussed battle strategies well, but I was also a great negotiator. Because of this, 600 men quickly grew to 4,000 men. This all took place when I was alleged to the Spanish. Once I found out what the French were advocating for, I changed my loyalty to them. My first mission for them was to attack Santo Domingo. I ended up having to fight my former troops. I luckily prevailed and was able to capture Santo Domingo. The Treaty of Basel ended the conflict between France and Spain. My troops were ineffective and they were withdrawn.
Can you describe your time as general and what you did as a general?
In 1801, I proclaimed myself as Governor General for life. I introduced a constitution that reiterated the abolition of slavery. I also had nearly absolute powers. Hispaniola was in a rough state. I wanted to bring back some stability to my home, so I reestablished agriculture and helped improve the economic conditions. I was also able to exchange trade agreements with Britain and the Americans. They provided my troops with arms and goods while I gave them sugar, and I promised not to invade Jamaica or the American South.
Moving on to your capture, it is said that Napoleon Bonaparte was the one that arrested you and put you in prison. Do you care to elaborate on that?
Sure, Napoleon was dominant in France by 1799. Just 2 years before I took over Haiti. He fought many wars during his time, and he wanted to rebuild France's colonial power in the Atlantic world. He decided that he should replace me as a leader of Saint-Domingue. He thought that my constitution was an affront and a challenge to him. In 1802, he sent 40,000 troops to take over Saint-Domingue. I had heard that he was going to reinstitute slavery, something I had fought so hard to get rid of for my island. I did not go down without a fight. Therefore, fighting once again broke out in Saint-Domingue. French General Charles Victor Emmanuel Leclerc declared that I was an outlaw. I tried to make peace with him, but the French still saw me as a threat. I was accused of inciting rebellion and that I wanted the white population dead, which was not true. I was treated with kindness from my master, so I believe that there were good people still out there. In 1802, my family and I were captured and sent to prison in France. On April 7, 1803, I died in my prison cell.
All very interesting. Thank you, Mr. Louverture, for your time today. I'm sure our listeners enjoyed it and learned so much about you today. Please be sure to check out episode 1 featuring Martin Luther King Jr. Why is Toussaint Louverture so historically significant? Well, he led a successful slave revolt and emancipated the slaves in the French colony of Haiti. Had it not been for him, the slaves would have stayed slaves for a lot longer than what they already had. He was the one that made Haiti a free island.